All right, everyone, did you hear about the new cool kid? It's Bill O'Reilly. He's like really socially relevant, really hip and everything. I'm going to read you a tweet that he made that someone on Twitter sent me earlier. And this was, I'm having trouble not bursting out laughing because it's one of the funniest things that I've seen in a while. I'm going to read this out to you because it's just so funny in so many ways. You'll get it. This is from Bill O'Reilly. You'll remember him as he was a pundit on Fox News, and then they kicked him off for like being creepy to women, and apparently he made like phone calls. This is the allegation, I swear, and it's just an allegation, like, you know, he didn't go to trial for it. The allegation, and he settled out after this, was that he had like, you know, phone called one of the other people at Fox and was talking about like rubbing their breasts in the shower and weird shit like that. And it's just like, you know, it's Bill O'Reilly, so a little bit different than if it were maybe someone half his age, probably, as far as the creepiness factor, because I think the person he was talking to is like, you know, 50 years younger than him. A little bit odd. But here's the tweet, and this is really funny. It's a microcosm of his fucking woes. Simply put, Americans now understand they are not getting honest information from TV news anymore. Very shortly, they will seek information on the internet, and cable news in particular will suffer. Oh, okay, way to state the obvious, Bill. Here's the thing. People have known this for a long time. This is not a revelation. I think in the last couple of years, the situation has compacted. It has snowballed for the cable news media especially and gotten demonstrably infinitely worse. Their trustworthiness ratings over the last 2 years in particular have plummeted. From the point where they were already mediocre and they were really low among the young to now, I think it's single digits among the younger demographics, which is good because, you know, you shouldn't trust them. All they are is corporations. News doesn't just come from TV and newsprint. There's people who use the term press to describe like a Fox News or a BuzzFeed or something like that. They don't apply it properly because it also describes any independent commentary or first-hand reporting. You've whipped out your phone and taken footage of something that's happening and you've done a write-up about it. You have done reporting. You have reported on it. You have analyzed it. You've done punditry, essentially. It's exactly the same, but here's the thing. Bill O'Reilly was, for most of his career, one of those legacy media hacks himself. He was an 8-figure, starched shirt, creepy pundit who argued in favor of war and neoconservatism. And he still does. He doesn't magically become a renegade because he gets kicked off Fox. He didn't leave voluntarily to go from an 8 to a 6-figure salary. That wasn't his idea. He was kicked off of the Fox News network. They gave him a golden parachute severance package so that he could afford his Chardonnay lifestyle, I suppose. And now he does a podcast. I can't even fathom how much money he makes per episode off that. Look, the dude still has a lot of fans. That much is clear. A lot of people stopped watching Fox, probably. You know, older people generally, though. And this isn't always the case. Again, statistics and individuals within a statistic are totally different things. I'm aware that there are people in their 60s, 70s, maybe even up into their 80s, who knows, that like watch this channel here, and there are certainly people who use YouTube and watch podcasts and have the smartphone and stuff. A lot of people in that age demographic, though, don't even know how to turn on a computer. Bill O'Reilly does a web-only podcast. It's totally different. He's gone on like shows since then. He goes on some radio show, and they like try to declare him the king of cable still, and it's like he's not on cable anymore. Now he's the king podcaster, and he's not even that. Look, I doubt that he pulls in the kind of numbers that a Crowder or a Joe Rogan does. Still a lot of people, and since he sells subscriptions to his podcast, he at least makes a high 6-figure income. He's still a rich dude, but it's not the same kind of luxury that he's used to. He doesn't exactly wear the the highbrow suit anymore. Sometimes he's there. He looks more like like Obama or something, like a leisure suit. Puts on a polo shirt to cover some of his liver spots, I guess. But yeah, Bill O'Reilly is a maverick. He's telling you that cable news is dying and people are turning to the internet, and he's part of that. Goddammit! And how old is he? What? I think he's at least 70 years old. I think he's a little bit older than that. No, he's not exactly a renegade. He's saying the same things. He's just doing it in a different format where he makes less money. His main gripe with cable is that he's no longer on cable. My main gripe with cable is, fuck cable, I never want to be on cable. It's a little bit different. Those of us who I think have built an audience primarily in podcasting, streaming on YouTube, maybe one-off videos or whatever, blogging and stuff. It's the internet. It's tied in more with radio than it is cable. In some respects, it's oddly inseparable. You can have a podcast that's also on the radio, oddly enough, or vice versa. Certainly. He's correct. What Bill O'Reilly here is saying is right, but it's nothing that hasn't been said for years. I started saying this in around 2015, that cable was dying quickly. It would probably get worse, and that they would lash out at people that were online, at independent commentators. Trust me, Bill O'Reilly's not one of the people they're going to lash out at. Look at who they never attack, they never defame. There's your controlled opposition, I suppose, right there. If they're writing up about people and calling them dangerous and extreme and really fringe and out there and saying things that are patently false about them, that's when you know the person's probably a pretty good commentator. You know, that's basically a lightning rod, by the way, for younger viewers. I wonder if the cable news media, whose average audience, for CNN, it's like 66 years. For Fox, it was like 71 or 69 or some insane number. Their average viewers are geriatric in general on cable news for most of the networks. I think the youngest networks, their average audience is usually in their 40s. That's for hip networks on cable. They should be fucking worried about their medium even surviving another 10 years. Nobody's going to pay the inordinate fees required to have a few hundred cable channels when they could just pay 1/10 that amount for on-demand and get a shit ton more quality content. Or they could pay the same amount for internet, and not only that, they can make content on the internet. They can make their own videos if there's nothing to watch. They can write their own books if there's nothing they want to read at the time. You can do anything on the internet. It's fucking great. The internet's so much better than cable. It's so much better than radio and newsprint and every one of these other mediums that these people cling to. Bill O'Reilly, though, would have been one of those clingy people. He never called out cable news as a medium and said, well, cable has trustworthiness problems. No, on Fox, it's just like their use of the term legacy media. Third or fourth time, as of a couple days ago, I think it was, I heard them use the term legacy media. I don't listen to Fox or any other network, but like if I'm sitting here, other people in the next room and might be watching TV, I hear plain as day, oh, the legacy media says blah, 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 and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's great, and it's funny to see a term that we're attempting to popularize take off on Fox, but you're part of the legacy media. You're on a legacy medium. You're expressing legacy ideas, and a lot of the people that are on there are legacy individuals. They've been there 10, 20 years in some cases in the news, sometimes more. They've made a career of it. They're rich too. You know, most of these people make at least $1 million a year. Their staffers probably make $500,000. Don't talk to me about you're not part of the legacy media, and that's just the next phase. The injection of the term legacy media to Fox is nothing more than them calling CNN the mainstream media. You're part of the mainstream media. You're one of the biggest cable networks. Your parent company's even bigger. It's total legacy network. It's also not the same Fox of 10 years ago that had a few evangelo-con ideas. Now it's just, you spit-shined it again. You took the turd and you painted it with lipstick, and now you're showing people the new rebranded Fox. Now we're more family-friendly. Don't worry, we won't back Trump again the next time around because he might say a mean thing. Now you're just McCain the network, basically. Who was it, Shepard Smith or whoever it is on there constantly rambling about those issues. It's pretty funny. No, it's just a for-profit corporation, and Bill O'Reilly is a massively wealthy pundit, a mainstream figure who has mainstream, very, very innocuous ideas. There was a time 10 years ago when some people get upset and say, well, something he said was out there. Like, okay. The most edgy out there thing that Bill O'Reilly talks about is every year for a few weeks he talks about the non-existent fucking war on Christmas. That's the most edgy you will ever see him get. That or, fuck it, we'll write it and we'll do it live or something like that. The most edgy he's been is when he had his meltdown or when he's making phone calls to his staff, allegedly. That's essentially the problem. He's part of the legacy media. He can use the online world as a medium. I said a while ago, if these pundits knew it was good for them, they would quit and they would move to an online format. As the online world grows, more and more money will be there too. That's why these cable networks want to just devolve into nothing but streams on YouTube and elsewhere. because they want to shove everyone else aside and get priority status and get in early to absorb as many people as possible in the new wave of tech. By the way, they're getting in late, and there's a whole new wave of tech now rising up that they're not even remotely part of. And it's going to be funny to see them screw themselves again because they're not looking forward into the future. Every successive technological generation has this same problem. They're not gonna see the light until it's too late. Most of these networks won't be around in 30 years. I guarantee you wait 30 years until I'm an old man, see how many of these networks exist, or if cable is even still a medium within the Western world. Or if it's just something in less technologically developed countries that don't want to set up Starbucks Wi-Fi hotspots. You watch, you wait and see. I bet you anything MSNBC won't exist, or if it does, it'll be in an online-only format. Hell, we'll probably have like three-dimensional holograms, but so it'll be even different. You know, you can already create an illusion that's like that. You see those people with those things that they spin around and they use like little LEDs in order to make a semi-three-dimensional looking holograph. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. They're going to improve upon it. Look for three-dimensional transparent objects that nonetheless have the ability to receive light and broadcast it, and then you'll have your, so take some sort of gel that's, electric in nature, and then use, XY coordinates to light up individual little points within a three-dimensional matrix, and you'll have your hologram technology. But no, Bill O'Reilly won't live to see that. He's an old man, and the one that's not culturally relevant anymore. Yeah, you get a lot of fans. Okay, it's a fraction of what you had before you got kicked off Fox. Most of them stayed with Fox. Some of them have Bill O'Reilly brand loyalty, but I mean, he's going to get to the point. Instead of selling Bill O'Reilly t-shirts, it's going to be Bill O'Reilly liver pills, something like that. The Bill O'Reilly suppository tonic. It's all the go. Literally. Yeah, that's about all. Peace out.